Hello everyone, and welcome back. Walpurgis Night has just released, and with it, two brand new identities. Lantern Dawn and Magic Bullet Outis. So, let's not waste any time and get straight into them and see what they do. Starting with Lantern Dawn, we have Skill 1, I Shall Nibble Thee. It's a 5 to 12 coin, which is pretty good. 11 is usually the average, so having it one above that is very nice. On use, gain 3 aggro to this skill slot next turn, and on hit, inflict 2 rupture count. It's a pretty average skill 1. It does have positive rupture count generation though, so that's very nice, especially because it's a skill 1 and it's only a single coin. That means that it's pretty easy to maintain a rupture stack with this skill. Skill 2, we have Flashing Lure. It is a 4 to 13. On use, gain 4 aggro to this skill slot next turn, and if the target has 6 plus rupture, coin power plus 1, which would turn it into a 16 rolling skill. On hit, inflict 1 rupture, and on the final coin, 2 rupture. And if the target has less than 2 rupture count, inflict 3 rupture count. It's a neutral rupture count generation, as long as the stack is about to die, otherwise it's just a negative rupture generation, so be careful when you use this skill, otherwise you might accidentally destroy your stack too quickly. Other than that, it's basically the coin power is kind of required to have this be any good at clashing. 13 is pretty bad, but 16 is average, so it definitely needs the coin power. Skill 3, Whirlwind Om Nom Nom. It's a 4 to 13, just like Skill 2. Gain 5 aggro to this skill slot next turn. If target has 6 plus rupture, coin power plus 1. So this is basically completely identical to the Skill 2, which is not very good for a Skill 3. I mean, a 13 base for a Skill 3, that's pretty bad. It needs the coin power to be even remotely good at all. On hit, inflict plus 3 rupture count. On hit with this third coin, heal 15 HP, heal by plus 50% more HP when reusing this coin, heal additional HP based on rupture on target, 2 HP healed per 1 rupture, max of 40, and at 50% minus HP, reuse the coin once. This is actually probably the best healing skill in the game. It can heal you a maximum of 55 HP, and possibly even more if you are below the 50% threshold. I don't know if that's before or after the healing of the first coin. It's probably after, so you would heal, and then if the heal is not enough to get you above 50%, then it reuses the coin. But if it does get you above, then you don't reuse the coin. So it definitely makes it a little bit harder to actually be able to reuse the coin because of how good the healing is. But it's still very good. You basically not want to really clash with this because the clashing isn't very good. You want a more like one-sided attack with this skill so that you just get the healing benefit, basically. Next is the defense skill, a 12 to 6. A 12 to 18. On use, if target has 6 plus rupture, final power plus 3, which would give it up to a 21, which is average. Turn end, heal HP equal to remaining shield HP. Once per turn, max heal amount 10% of max HP. It's okay for a tank ID. 20 is like the bare minimum, I'd say. But it still doesn't really do anything about being completely unusable against fatal damage. If you're taking a fatal attack, you're never going to get the heal HP because the shield is going to get deleted instantly. It's fine, but it's not very good, I'd say. For passive, Om Nom Nom. If this unit's skill slot has aggro, clash power +1. That's pretty much a permanent +1 clash power. All of her skills, except the defense skill for some reason, gains aggro. So as long as you're attacking, you're always going to have +1 clash power pretty much. Which doesn't really change that much with her skills. It changes it from like a 16 to a 17, which isn't that impactful. It could definitely help, but it doesn't really help, you know? Heals 6 HP every time this unit hits an enemies that targeted this unit with an attack skill in the chaining phase. This is basically just free HP healing, which is never a bad thing. Her support passive, Illuma Lantern. The ally with the highest aggro skill slot heals 4 HP every time they hit an enemy that targets this unit. Does not apply to units without aggro. This is one of the single best healing passives in the game, but it does require aggro to work, which makes it pretty niche. So, Base Gregor is still the better healing support passive option. And that's it for Dawn. Let's now move on to Outis. Starting off with the skill 1, we have Ignition. It is a 3 to 11. Again, pretty average for a skill 1. Coin power +1 for every 3 burn on target, max of 3, which brings it all the way up to a staggering 17 on a skill 1. And all you need is 9 burn, which is incredibly easy to do. This is probably the single best skill 1 in the entire game, probably. A 17 is absolutely absurd, and it's super easy to get, too. On hit with the first coin, inflict 1 Dark Flame, and the second coin, inflict burn equal to Dark Flame on target. We will discuss Dark Flame in a second. I want to go over the skills before talking about the status effect, so let's move on to the skill 2. Detonate Magic Bullet. It is a 4 to 16, coin power +1 for every 6 burn on target, max of 3, which brings it up to a 22 max roll. Again, very good, but it is a little bit more restrictive than the skill 1, needing an 18 burn stack, which is still pretty feasible. It's not something that's impossible to do. And anyways, the base roll of 16 is nice too, so the coin power isn't really necessary on this skill. It's just nice to have. On hit at less than 4 Magic Bullet, gain 1 Magic Bullet. Inflict Dark Flame equal to Magic Bullet next turn. And the second coin, inflict burn equal to Dark Flame on target. So you can only ever gain up to a maximum of 4 Magic Bullets with this skill, which means if you want to get more, you have to either use the skill 3 or the defense skill to actually push it past that threshold. Don't get me wrong, 4 is still pretty good, so you could completely ignore the skill 3 and the defense skill and just be completely fine with just having a permanent 4 magic bullets at all times. Next up, and the most interesting of her skills, is the skill 3, Magic Bullet Fire. It is a 15 to 19, which is a very good roll. Having very high base power means it's incredibly consistent. Even if you do roll a tails, it doesn't really matter that much. You deal 1% more damage for every burn on target, up to a maximum of 30. You're pretty much always going to be getting bonus damage from this because, you know, the other 2 skills are always inflicting burn. Pretty good. Free damage is free damage. Can never say no to that. Before attack, gain 1 Magic Bullet. Lose Magic Bullet -1 times 5 SP. So this means that if you're at max sanity, you will lose 30 sanity. Or if you have max bullets, you will only lose 30 sanity when using this skill. Which means the next line at 10 or less SP, 50% chance to attack indiscriminately. As long as you are at max sanity when you use this skill, you will never attack indiscriminately because you'll be at 15 SP when you use it. You have to really be careful about how much SP you have when you actually use this skill. Otherwise, you might end up pulling a Reindeer Ishmael and mind-whipping Heathcliff. After attack, if at 7 Magic Bullet reset to 0, counts as spending the last ammo. This line right here is literally only existing because of LCCB Ryoshi's support passive. It's only there so that it works with her support passive, and that's it. So that's cool. On hit, inflict Dark Flame equal to Magic Bullet next turn. Now we can talk about Dark Flame itself. It is unique burn, max value of 7, which is the most important part. Target loses defense level equal to the value of this effect. Turn end, deal value times burn on target Pride Affinity damage, then expires. This is basically Sinking Deluge, but for burn, which is very, very nice. Unfortunately, it can only go up to a max stack of 7, which means that you'll only be able to ever tick a maximum of 700 damage every turn, which is still an absolutely crazy amount of damage, but it's never gonna, like, one-shot enemies, you know, like Sinking Deluge can. And the defense level down is also very, very nice, because, you know, 3 defense level down is equivalent to 1 fragile, so as long as you have 3 Dark Flames on a target, that's just basically 10% bonus damage, which is very good. Also, because the skill 2 only stacks up Magic Bullet to around 4, that basically means that most commonly you will only ever have around like 3 to 5 Dark Flame. It'll be pretty rare to get actually up to 7, unless you like give Otis extra slots or something like that. So typically you'd be doing more around a maximum of 300 to 500 damage every turn, which is still very good, but yeah, it's nice. Definitely good that Burn has something like this now. Next up, we have the defense skill, the Price of a Bullet. It is a 10 to 14, which is bad. On use, gain 1 Magic Bullet once per turn. On use, gain final power equal to Magic Bullet times 2. This can stack up to another 14, so it basically can double it if you have max Magic Bullets, to a 28, which is the best guard skill in the game, because, like I said, most of them go up to, like, what is it, 25, I think is the max on somebody, I don't remember who. But Otis is also incredibly frail. She's got -3 defense level and only 157 HP, which is very low. She does not want to be taking hits, and unless you have a lot of magic bullets, this guard skill is probably going to just get you killed. Its only real use is to gain extra magic bullets once you can no longer gain, once you're at 4. So basically you only ever want to use this when you are at 4 magic bullets, which would give you an extra 8 shield, so that would be around a 22. That's a decent number, but again, with how frail the identity actually is, it's not enough. only usable to gain extra bullets, and that's basically it. You never want to use this to actually defend. Up next is her passive, the Marksman's Smoking Pipe. If the main target's defense level is currently lowered by 4 or more, gain burn on main target poise before attack, max of 20 per turn. This passive is interesting, to say the least. It doesn't really help very much, or really do anything. All it does is give her poise sometimes, which could be good if the target does have 4 lowered defense level and 20 burn stack. Then this basically means that her next attack is guaranteed to crit, which more often than not will be her skill 3 that you're using, or at least you want it to be her skill 3. And essentially that means that her skill 3 is guaranteed to crit for an extra 20% damage, which is nice. Don't get me wrong, it's not anything crazy, but it's there. And lastly, her support passive, Request Work. One ally with the most SP deals plus 10% damage with ego skills. If the ego skill consumes 7 plus ego resources, deal an additional 5% damage. 15% bonus ego damage can be absolutely insanely powerful, especially on the most powerful ego skills in the game like Sun Shower or Blind Obsession. The only thing is, it is activatable on Pride Resonance, so you need to actually plan around it. In the case of Blind Obsession, that doesn't really matter because it does count for one of them, so you can get around it pretty easily and get nice value out of this, I'd say. Anyways, yep, that's basically it. If you guys want to try out these identities before actually pulling them yourself, here is my friend code. You can add me if you feel like it. And yeah, that's basically it. Goodbye. Project Moon Go a single update without breaking the game. Challenge impossible. Reward 1,300 lunacy. We're eating good tonight. Make sure you get your Magic Bullet Outis with this.